by a vote of 3-2, the PPAC decided to make a change that had not been previously announced and make the 4-foot lane that had been a golf cart lane since 2002 a bicycle lane and send the golf carts into the auto truck lane. And certain members of the residents, certain residents felt and feel that this was and is a mistake. The issue has a lot of hidden agendas, in my opinion. Not the least of which is the bicycle folks want a lane for themselves. But no one has ever said that there's not a way to accommodate both the golf carts and the bicycles in that 4-foot lane. What we're talking about here is safety. Safety is the paramount thing that we need to keep in front of us as we discuss this. And although Duncan Preserve Boulevard and Cypress Point, Cypress Grove have 30-mile-an-hour speed limits, I personally have seen and been passed by cars going well over 45, closer to 50 on Pelican Preserve Boulevard. And it makes me shiver to think what's going to happen. And I don't say if, I say when, an automobile or truck, and there's still a lot of trucks on Pelican Preserve Boulevard doing construction work, ends up tangling with the golf cart. And those of us who've been in Pelican Preserve from the beginning think that the initial way of driving the golf carts in the 4-foot lane on the right-hand side was and continues to be the better of the two options. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I reserve my time after you're finished, if I may.
Certainly. And I actually, believe it or not, read through everything that you sent us, both of you, because I wanted to really understand this issue. And I don't see where there's any prohibition to the 4-foot undesignated lane being used by bicycles and golf carts and even pedestrians, although I wouldn't walk down the street. It's an undesignated lane. It's wider than what bicycles would use or need. And it clearly says in one of the traffic studies that golf carts need 4 feet. 4 to 5 feet, but 4 feet is certainly within the realm that golf carts can travel in. So I'm not sure why it can't be a shared undesignated lane.
Even along with the sidewalks too, right?
Yes,
Because
yeah.
Pelican has sidewalks in all
May
throughout the community.
I respond to that?
Certainly.
And I think we have it in the proposal. But the response is that, and to Bill's comment as well, those golf carts are 4 feet wide. So when they are traveling, they're not, for the most part, are not fully in that lane. They are sticking out into the vehicle, the regular vehicle lane. So the problem with cars speeding down that regular vehicle lane still exists, even if they are allowed to use the 4-foot lane. So, and further, if they're in that lane, and there are bicycles in that lane, and they come upon a golf cart comes up to a bicycle, you're gonna have to pass that bicycle and give it a 3 foot of space. You're gonna have to pull out into the vehicle lanes, another unsafe thing we believe is unsafe. So, and the bicycles, so we think that it's safer for the bicycles to have their own lane, and that it is no less safe for the golf carts to be traveling, and in fact, probably more safe for the golf carts to be traveling in the regular vehicle lanes.
And just common sense, I try and understand how it would be safer for you to tell golf carts they have to travel in the road, as opposed to the only time they would actually be in the road with the cars and heavy traffic would be when they're passing a bicycle. Otherwise, they would be in that 4 foot undesignated lane.
But they're not really in the 4 foot lane. They're partially into the vehicle lane.
It's very dangerous if they try to stay in that 4 foot, because all they have to do is sneeze, hit that curb, and they're gonna have a wreck.
Exactly.
It's very dangerous.
And so, and if they come to a place where they're gonna have to make a turn, a left-hand turn, they have to go across 4
Which-
It's the average
lanes.
speed of a golf cart.
What they would have to do,
And do
even
so.
if they were in the roadway, it'd still be going across 3 lanes of traffic, so I don't see where that would make it safer. If you're making a left-hand turn on the golf cart, it's going to be dangerous. You're gonna have to be doing your due diligence to be careful when you do that.
The other unsafe thing that occurs is if you have a golf cart partially in that 4 foot lane, and you have 2 cars passing in the vehicle lanes, you get into a situation that is potentially very unsafe, we believe.
And, one thing that we can't do is we cannot tell bicyclists they have to use the bike lane, because they're allowed to be anywhere on the road that
is
they wanna
correct.
be.
That is correct.
So, if they're out in the roadway, which they very easily could be, it seems to me it would be less safe than the golf
Yeah,
carts being in the
but I would
roadway.
suggest to you that the bicycles rarely, if ever, are in those vehicle lanes, and if they had a designated lane for them to operate in, they would, the lion's share would stay in that lane. You know, we're talking about situations here where people, not everybody is gonna obey whatever rules
Right.
you put into
I
effect.
understand that.
And the question is balancing those safety issues. To Bill's, by the way, and responding to Bill's point, yes, 4 years ago, we did designate those lanes as a bicycle lane, and we weren't allowed to do that. We did something that was wrong, and I think I have told you that.
Mea culpa.
Mea culpa, a number of times. So that, you know.
Also with how wide are your sidewalks?
Probably 4 feet.
Actually, they're not quite 4 feet. I've measured them. They're a little bit less than 4 feet.
I'm sorry.
Or maybe they're a little less than
You
5
guys-
feet. I can't remember. I think they're less than 5 feet. I'm sorry.
I
There are
wondered
4.
if they were 4 or 5 feet. I've been curious.
I've measured them, and I'm questioning the
Okay.
measurement.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if we have a designated bicycle lane, we think that will encourage bicyclists to use only that lane, not use the sidewalks, which they do sometimes. And we think that's a potentially unsafe situation as well.
Yeah, I think that was my question is, one, and I mean, I appreciate all the due diligence that PPAC does, which is about everything they do. This is just such a, you know, I'm trying to make a decision for a community that I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about as far as the interactions and the behaviors of your bikes and your golf carts. But one thing that, you know, I was gonna ask how much bike traffic is actually gonna be used in that bike lane, and how much traffic is actually just on the sidewalk. And like your casual person, I would say, would probably use the sidewalk, but, you know.
Actually, in numbers.
They predominantly use the bike lane, but.
Yeah, and then if you've got a golf cart who's going, you know, max 20, 25 miles an hour, and if it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone, aren't you gonna have the same safety issues with cars wanting to go around them? I don't know how many people are just not gonna go the speed limit because there's a golf cart in front of them, so they're gonna be in the other road.
Yeah,
So
but they will come up and they will see the golf carts and have to go around them. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
You ever come up behind one of those scooters on Colonial Boulevard? It only goes about
Yeah.
35 miles an
I mean, there's gonna be,
But-
it's not a perfect system either way you go.
Exactly,
Um,
and if the golf cart is in the vehicle lane, there's plenty of room for a car coming on that, up behind the golf cart to switch into the left-hand lane and go past the golf cart. Whereas if it's a golf cart it was operating in the curb lane, comes up on a bike, it's swerving into a lane that potentially has a car in it.
Mark, I'll make a motion that purely based on.
Well, I don't think we're finished. Kathy hadn't had a chance to ask her question.
May
Give
May
her
I
a
make a
comment.
comment just as an observation, and I don't really want to pick sides here, but I do have a golf cart, I drive there. Most people on bicycles are always in the bicycle lane. Most sidewalks are used by walkers. I very, very rarely see anybody walking in that 4-foot lane, but the bikes predominantly use it. We do have a lot of bike riders, we do have a lot of walkers. We have a heck of a lot of golf carts. Driving a car, I have more sense of where I am and visibility in front to see a golf cart, to prepare to pass them in the driving lanes. Driving a golf cart, not all people have side view mirrors. Some of them just have that big strip in the middle, which is horrible. Great on a golf course, but the thing vibrates like crazy. And I have one, I don't know why I paid the $50 to put it in there. But golf carts, I think, are a little bit less aware, the drivers are, of their surroundings. And I don't know that they use those rear view mirrors very well, or side view mirrors. And if they're in the 4-foot lane and have to pull into the other lane to pass a bicycle, I think you have more potential for an accident with a car coming up than you do if that golf cart is in the car lane to begin with. And when they're gonna make a left-hand turn, at that particular point, they really do become more aware, the golf cart drivers, of where they are, because now they're looking around to see what's coming up behind them and have to adjust their speeds. That's just a comment to consider.
Thank you. Mrs. Blair, do you have comments or questions?
I was wondering how you would enforce the golf cart person to stay in that lane and not drive in the other lane.
Like anything, Kathy, enforcement is a very difficult situation. Enforcement of speed limits is a difficult situation. Enforcement of anything is a difficult situation. But that doesn't say you shouldn't at least try to put the rule in effect. The same thing would happen if, suppose we were recommending to put a stop sign in a particular place. You would say to me, well, how will you enforce the people stopping at that stop sign? Should that prevent us from putting it in if we think it's a safety issue? I don't think so.
I'm just wondering if people would drive their golf cart in both lanes, and then you have.
Well, people already drive their golf carts in both lanes.
Yeah, when you're in a car, you wanna just run over them.
They are, some people, and I think we said it in the proposal, at this point, some people try and ride their golf carts in the curb lane. Some ride them all the time in the traffic lane, and some are partway in and partway out. So we're trying to put down a rule that says, at least to tell people that the rule is you're supposed to be in this lane. Will they all obey it? No, they won't all obey it, but most of them will.
Okay, thank you.
Phil, has there been any discussion, what's the city of Fort Myers gonna do when they get this?
Well, we see no reason why the city of Fort
Won't
Myers
accept it.
wouldn't accept it. As Tony has pointed out, there was this letter that goes back to 2001, which apparently was an understanding that those lanes could be used by golf carts.
Is that the RWA letter?
That's the RWA letter. In that letter, we would, for that reason, because of the rules that are controlled by the city of Fort Myers, we would have to go back to the city anyway. So Yeah, we have no reason to believe that.
Yeah, and
Just
my opinion on that, that letter is part of a development order and it's part of the conditions, and then if you recall back in 2016, when there was the issue about the striping, whether or not it was approved, Tyler Wainwright contacted then Carl Caracos, the city of Fort Myers,
Yeah.
regarding the striping and lane usage on Pelican Reserve Boulevard. I have copies of the email, in that and it says, as we have previously discussed, it appears that the original intent of the development was for the 4-foot lanes along Pelican Reserve Boulevard to remain, quote, undesignated, close quote, and allow for golf cart usage in this area. And they quote from the attached 2001 memorandum from RWA to Saeed Kazemi. Carl and I, this is Carl and Tyler, Carl and I both interpret this to mean that golf carts are able to drive within a 4-foot wide lane. Also, since the construction plans attached do not appear to show any marking indicating this 4-foot wide shoulder is a bike lane, it's the city's opinion that those markings should not have been installed. That gets back to that whole issue. So I have copies of that email if you want for the record.
So, let me just ask this of you, Tony, what is your opinion on this as far as that 4-foot lane?
I believe it's, and I think my opinion's been consistent, that it's undesignated lane intended for golf carts. It's undesignated, but it was for golf cart usage, is where it appears.
Why would you?
But the fact that the
It was never designated as a bicycle lane, in my
No,
opinion.
no, but the fact that the original, this is the way they laid it out, you have the power to change that. I would also point out, as we did in the proposal, that the DRI said there should be places for bicycles connected with bicycles within the community. And that has not been provided for. That was not done.
Or do the sidewalks not connect to all
No.
the communities?
Yeah.
They dead end in places?
They said 4 bicycles to do that.
I understand, but that didn't answer my question. Do all the sidewalks interconnect the entire community?
No.
So some of them dead end in places? Well, the undesignated lane can be shared with golf carts and bicycles.
If this body decides that they can be shared, they can be shared. We are recommending that they not be shared.
I understand. I was just looking at all the historical
Sure.
documentation, and even the one traffic study says that the golf cart lane should be at least 4 feet, or 4 to 5 feet.
Right.
So 4 feet is within what even their recommendation was for golf carts.
Yeah, and Madam Chairman, your comment again, just reading again from that letter, 2001, it talks about Sun City Boulevard will have appropriately striped 11-foot travel lanes, both lanes for automotive traffic, and an undesignated 4-foot shoulder. Appropriate signage will be provided to designate golf cart usage on the shoulder and outside lane areas. So I think that is the intent for that 4-foot lane to be for golf cart use, but undesignated.
There's no question about it that that was the intent at the time. That was never promulgated, so people don't know what the rule is. And I don't believe that that would prevent this body from changing the rule.
Well, I think what Mr. Measy and the committee's recommended, that if that's the way to go, it would be a request to the city of Fort Myers to modify the development order for Pelican Reserve Boulevard to change the nature of that 4-foot shoulder, 4-foot lane. That would, in my opinion, that would be required.
Designation.
Yes.
Designation.
Yeah.
I even looked at the traffic study, you have a lot more golf carts than you have bicycles when they were doing their counts. I mean, it's
Correct.
just,
No question about it.
so,
Madam Chairman, may I reserve, or
yes.
get some of my time back?
Yes, I'm finished, I'm contemplating.
Bill has based his argument in substantial part
Not just
on the
my
fact. What's that?
It's not just my argument.
Well, you're the witness, so I'm.
You're the corporate representative for the hearing, yeah.
In substantial part on the fact that the golf carts are 4 feet wide and the lane is 4 feet wide, and I will not argue that point. I will tell you that I have driven a golf cart for many, many years in Pelican Reserve and have been able to stay within that 4-foot lane. And even when I sneezed and came out of the lane, I came out of it by 6 inches, more or less. And automobiles traveling in an 11-foot lane could pass me easily, even if I were 6 inches out of the 4-foot lane. So I urge the board to discount or disregard the argument that the 4-foot lane is inappropriate for golf carts. Thank you.
Mr. Banks?
No.
Any further thoughts? Kathy, any further thoughts?
Thank you.
All right.
Prepared to make a motion. Make a motion to approve it as written by the committee and to submit to the city of Fort Myers. 4 feet is too tight for a golf cart.
Hearing no second, the motion dies.
Madam Chairman, may I?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to move that we accept the recommendation with the exception of changing the 4-foot lane to be exclusively for bicycles and make it clear that it is a lane for golf carts and bicycles, and instruct the manager to inform the officials over at Pelican Preserve to tell the residents what the new rules are.
Do I hear a second? I'll second that for discussion, because I'm not sure what people are thinking here.
Would you repeat that motion, please?
I'm repeating the motion, not that I'm trying to lay it on you, but
So I can write it.
to accept the recommendation of the PPAC as presented to us at this point, with the exception that the 4-foot lane be, as it was originally set up, an undesignated lane, and it be available for both golf carts and bicycles.
Because today, bicycles are not allowed, right?
Say again?
The rule today is, the way PPAC has it today, is what?
No, bicycles are allowed are definitely allowed in there. We felt it was safer to make it exclusively for bicycles.
So today,
Both.
golf carts and bicycles are,
Yeah, there aren't, effectively.
there's no rule.
there-
So why do
we-
we even need to?
Because they recommended something else, and we've been arguing about it for damn near 4 years.
But didn't we
And it's
just make a
time-
position?
Pardon?
Haven't we made a position by not approving?
No, but I think it's important to have a formal action to accept or not accept, in whole or in part, the recommendation by PPAC. And what Mr. Guy's motion puts forth is to accept everything, but go forth to the city of Fort Myers and ask for modification of that condition on the 4-foot shoulder. Keep that the same as it is today, and also directing staff to inform the community that that 4-foot lane is used by golf carts and bicycles.
Because the
Is that correct,
confusion
your
came.
statement?
Yeah, the confusion came because it had been marked as bicycles only. And then those markers got taken away because it was.
No, I
in
remember
program.
all that, I just
So
didn't
now
know,
the-
didn't know why we would need a
So-
specific motion,
Well,
but I
think
get it
that-
now.
Yeah, and part of that also is that.
Clarification.
Yeah, then as Mr. Measy indicated, that we'd all work together to come back with a document at the next meeting, to be in the form of a resolution, so it's clear on the record, all of those.
Yeah, because it seems to me that at the very least, even if that recommendation is not our recommendation for that specific thing is not accepted, which apparently it's not going to be, that at the very least, we try and clear up, we
The
have this,
confusion, okay.
we have this problem now of having a set of regulations that were written by the Pelican Preserve Community Association, and we have a resolution that was prepared, was approved by this board.
You may have an agreement that wasn't signed by both parties.
And so we've got all this stuff floating around out there that I think we ought to consolidate and have one resolution from this board that we would then, I guess, Tony, what?
Yeah, and the motion that Mr. Guy made would adopt these, and then we put in a form of a resolution incorporating all this, bring it back to the board, so we have that one document. You know,
A single
excluding
document.
the issue about going to the city, yes.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether Bill's motion also, does it cover the other two recommendations that we made that have nothing to do with golf carts?
The other safety recommendations?
The other safety
The
recommendations.
intersection issues.
Huh? Yeah, the one on the bridge and the one on the intersection.
Can we take them separately? Would that be okay?
I understood Mr. Guy's motion, absent,
Oh, it did.
it
That's
didn't
right.
encompass everything except for the golf cart lane. I could be wrong.
That's what I'm asking you, is that the intent?
The intent was to accept it as recommended, with the exception that the 4-foot lane will be an undesignated, quote unquote, undesignated lane, but for golf carts and bicycles both. And that word has got to get out to the
Yes,
rest of
absolutely. Either way we do it, one of the things we have to do is because people don't know at this point.
That's right.
So I absolutely
owe it-
agree with you.
We owe it to them.
Yes, I agree.
As far as painting the bridge and all of that business, while I'm not in favor of that, I'm not going to make a big deal about it because you're not gonna paint that bridge unless the city of Fort Myers allows it.
True.
And just one point for further discussion. So bikes are allowed on the sidewalks, golf carts are not allowed on the sidewalks. Or they are.
There's nothing to say they aren't,
Okay.
but people don't.
People don't, okay. And again, I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't know what's normal in your community, so.
Sidewalks, I think I read somewhere they have to be 5 feet wide for golf carts to be allowed on them.
And
'Cause
golf
I-
carts aren't supposed to be on the sidewalk.
No,
Correct.
they
That's what
will.
they call-
I'm
I'm
just
just, it's
saying.
more behavior, not the rule. I was just
Right.
wondering
Right.
if you had an issue with golf carts on the
There's
sidewalk.
a term out there called
I wasn't
multimodal
making a rule,
path.
I just read.
You can't run a golf cart on a regular sidewalk, as I call by city code. There's designated golf, sidewalks that are built exclusively for golf carts. We have one that runs from the entrance of Pelican Preserve up to the Winn-Dixie parking lot. That is a designated golf cart sidewalk. The others are not.
Before I call the vote on this, I just want to clarify how this affects, in here it said that the golf carts had to exit through the gate and weren't allowed to use that sidewalk to exit the community.
That's correct.
And
I think that's one of the issues we probably need to settle. But that's correct.
Let's vote.
okay,
Yeah, let's
I'll
vote
call
on-
the vote on Bill's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Who's opposed? 4-1.
And with that guidance, Madam Chairman, I've worked with Mr. Measy, to bring
Mhm.
back the resolution, shoot for the next board meeting, but we only have until Tuesday, so.
What?
We only have until Tuesday.
What's wrong with what we did right now to start notifying the residents of Pelican Preserve?
Oh, no,
Why do
that's
we
not-
have to put it off for another 2 weeks?
No, don't put the notification off, it's the resolution
Resolution.
to implement all those rules and regulations, that's the 2 weeks.
Let's-
I would suggest, if we have a resolution that's going to put regulations out, that we hold off, put the whole thing out until we have a final resolution. Bill, this is going on, as
For
you said,
4
for
years.
4 years, so if it goes on for another 2 weeks or another month, it isn't gonna make a heck of a lot of difference.
Unless somebody gets killed in the meantime.
Well, there's always that possibility.
I respect, Madam Chairman, I disagree, I believe that this one segment can be carved out and communicated to the residents and the rest of the regulations be put into the resolutions.
Let's, if I may, Madam Chairman,
Go right ahead.
let's talk for a moment about the exit of golf carts from Pelican Preserve Boulevard.
That concern, because I looked at that intersection, Bill.
That, what you're recommending, as I recall, is the golf carts go out through the gate and come in through the gate. And that is dangerous. Why not let the golf carts go onto the sidewalk and head up to Winn-Dixie at their earliest opportunity?
Well, they should be using the sidewalk up tree line.
I understand that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying, instead of fiddling around with that gate, they can get to the sidewalk just before the gate and go around, and they don't have to make a 98-degree right-hand turn to get onto the sidewalk to go to Gateway. Why, what is the logic behind it?
Because we, you know, in accord with the previous recommendation that the golf carts be in the vehicle
That
lanes,
gets negated.
that they would stay in the vehicle lanes when they exited the gate.
Oh, that's true.
Uh-huh.
That
You're treating it like a
becomes-
vehicle if we
yeah.
approve the
Created
previous
a problem.
So-
recommendation.
The fruit of the poisonous tree.
Hmm?
I said the fruit of the poisonous tree. That,
Yeah.
you can't base your logic on that because we've just changed that.
I understand that, and so probably that proposal, that part of it should be changed as well.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I would concur with that.
With
Well,
that,
Yeah.
I
that-
rest my case.
And that was my only concern, because I actually looked at that, the entrance, I drove around in Pelican, and I was looking at the lanes and looking at where you were wanting people to go, because I wanted to understand it. Okay, I guess that resolves this. Is there anything else we needed to vote on concerning this? Or are we just waiting for a resolution to come back now?
Yeah, now I think the resolution needs to come back.
Okay, thank you, Phil. That brings me to supervisor comments. I think I started down here the last time, I'll start with, okay, you said we start down there.
Well, I think the first one is that we made some decisions tonight on Hampton Park, but alls they've done is sent the ball down to May the 3rd. I think we better have a strategy. Where are we going? What are we going to do at 3 o'clock on May the 3rd? Let's assume that Tyler comes back with the deficiencies that have been identified, and that Baraco and Lennar are taking the position that they are not changing their mind. Now, Chris, do you have something that Rhonda, where she's gone, she said she had a response back to that letter. I don't know that I must not have seen that. Did they change their mind and they are not now saying that they're going to turn over the 8-inch and the 15-inch pipe to the HOA?
I think that was in the response from Baraco. And I
Baraco
wrote-
said that they weren't going to address our comments because it wasn't coming to us.
Right, and
Did they, we then went back to them, brought up the issues related to the storm system, which would be inclusive of that. They haven't come back and said they're changing their mind that the secondary drainage is coming to us.
No, I haven't seen anything in writing to that effect at all.
Rhonda contradicted that, right? That's what I
Yeah,
heard.
that's what I heard. So if that's the case, we're gonna be here 2 weeks from today with this very same thing, and we're not gonna be any further down the road. What's our strategy on this? Are we going to take this whole turnover with deficiencies
I think
and exclusions?
I think the reason they're having the meeting tomorrow, so, there may be some resolutions to issues, after tomorrow, so I don't see where we get any farther down the road tonight deciding what we're gonna do on May 3rd.
Well, the issue is that the thing's not good. If they keep that issue, which I do not believe Ron is correct, their engineer was very clear. Those 8 and 15-inch lines aren't coming to us. That is not what the Hampton Park residents want, and that's certainly not what the covenants say in the permit. My question is, what's our strategy of what we're gonna do when we get to that position 2 weeks from now?
Well, I think, that's something that we need to figure before it comes to the,
That's the problem. We don't have any time to figure it out before that meeting.
What I
2
would-
weeks from
Yeah,
today.
what I would suggest is that once Lennar, Rocco meets with the engineers, meets with Chris and or Mike, that the staff prepare a written recommendation to the board as to how to handle it
Mhm.
at the next board meeting.
Can we get a legal opinion, Tony, relative to just exactly, can they do this, can they, being Lennar, exclude this and not have to have our approval or consent?
Well, if you're saying exclude this, the question is exclude the lines and pipes that showed on the map that they sent a while back, or the 8-inch lines.
The
I
eight-
guess,
the eight-
and I guess the question along that is, what plans did Gateway approve? When the project came to Gateway for approval, did the Gateway approve 8-inch pipes? And what they indicate on the plans is coming to us or going to the HOA. I think that's important for us, the district, to go back and look at the approval that provided for Hampton Park.
I agree.
What did we approve?
Well, our part-
And what was intended back then?
Well, yeah, if we could get the transmittal letter or the letter on the approval of the original deal. Because our permit criteria manual, as I recall, and Danny has told me, is it says 15-inch on, that's the minimum pipe size that we go with. So if we sent them a letter back, good God knows when that was, now you're talking about 7, 8 years ago. This may even preceded Tetra Tech. Did we tell them and did we advise them and warn them that that 8-inch pipe couldn't be built, and they ignored it and built it anyway? I don't know the answer. All I know is that up until just this statement that Ron made, it's been clear, they're not gonna turn the thing over to us. They're going to, and they don't want to, because it's got defects. It's that simple, it's got defects. So anyway, that's, I guess we wait on answer from Tetra Tech.
Well, but I think also, in order to have the information to advise the board from the staff perspective, in-house and out-house, so to speak, is that we need to know what did Gateway approve as far as the drainage system for Hampton Park? Did the district approve 8-inch or not? And if 8-inch was approved, what was the intent? Was it indicated on the plans? I think that's important to know.
The other one is street lighting proposals. Where are we at on street lighting proposals from LED conversion from Bentley Electric? We got proposals in from them, and are we ready to have a presentation?
I'm getting numbers from West Coast also. I've had conversations with them. I just got an email, actually this afternoon, from Bentley about how much they would charge to do the conversion. I'm waiting for the others.
So we have a price proposal from them?
I don't have written proposals. I've talked to them. I've asked them to submit written proposals. They have not provided me with written proposals yet.
Bentley has not.
Neither West Coast or Bentley has not.
What's our timeline on getting those?
I had conversations with both of them the last few days. I've asked them for written proposals. I should have something next week.
Is this something we have budgeted, or is this something we need to look for setting
this-
the
I think
budget
this
for
is
next
probably
year?
part of our
It'll be
2019.
budget. We need to know what the numbers are to do it.
Right, so-
Right, we'd use this number to plug into the budget for next year.
Okay.
The other one at the last meeting, we brought up the turnover issue. Did you get a hold of WCI or talk to them on where are we at on this turnover? Because again, that's a budget issue. We got to know the answer on that.
On conservation area?
No, I'm talking about the road turnovers, Commerce Lakes
Oh,
Drive,
no,
the other
I
5.
apologize, I got tied up in the other matter.
I don't know what you would have been tied up on. I have no idea what the hell you did this last 2 weeks.
I just sat like this.
What do you think? Just all act like we had a pre-enforcement action.
I've got sprained thumbs now. Twiddling my thumbs.
Last one is assessment methodology. As requested, I sent to Chris a letter, and as I understand it, Russ has confirmed the points that were made at that last meeting. And so the deal upon us right now is, one, trying to figure out how this assessment methodology is going to interact with Pelican Reserve, because you got a different situation over there going on that I had no idea was happening. I guess we just wait till it comes to tax time to figure out how we do that. But you got people over there that are being billed not in accordance with our assessment methodology. It's that simple.
Well, that was one of the reasons, had Russ come in and sit down and talk at the PPAC meeting, is to
Well, we're
engage them in that entire process. and
We're
they were
scratching our head
surprised.
now because we thought that everything here in Gateway which we verified through the bond validation process was correct, would be just easily looked at in Pelican Reserve being done the same way, and it's not. It's not, so that's a little bit confusing. Other than that, that's all I have.
Mr. Banks?
No, I just, it was nice looking at the facilities, presentation today, and.
Yeah,
and I-
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I know, Chris, that you're taking a look at that and seeing what the potential needs would be here for utilities, and even starting to identify what we need from an administrative perspective. So the next step would be to, present them with what our future needs might be, so we can kind of figure out, what we would potentially draft out with a solution, once we understand whether or not we can put an administrative building over at the Commons Park. So I'm sure there's things that you're already starting to think about.
Mike's already setting up a meeting with the county staff to get something from them in writing.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay, great.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Mr. Cott?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. In my 40 years of working with boards, I have had many personalities to accommodate. There were those who hogged the time available at the board table. There were those who tried to tell the staff what, when, and how to perform their duties. These can usually be handled by the chairman. I have not, however, ever had a board member who called other board members names. Mr. Tinkle, it has come to my attention that you have called the four of us morons. If true, I'd like you to admit it, and now explain how this helps move this board forward in a positive way. If I'm ill-informed, I will return to my source for correction, but if true, you owe us an apology.
Please identify your source, Bill.
I will not,
Okay, well then, I will not agree with that then.
but then you're admitting that you are calling the four of us morons.
What's the context of it, Bill? Please explain.
I don't owe you an
Explain what you're talking
explanation.
about. What's the issue? What's the issue?
Did you or did you not call the four of us morons?
This isn't an inquisition, and I'm not gonna answer the question.
Thank you.
I'll just tell you, say, Ed, I've heard it too. I've heard the same thing from more than one source, that you called the four of us morons.
Please explain that. Please explain that. Who's the source? Say, don't buy that, Margaret. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Have the source come forward.
well-
Have the source come forward.
What I'll say is, be careful who you say things in front of, because they do get back to us.
That's fine. That's fine.
Mrs. Flaherty?
Yes. I have a list. Mr. Tisch? And you know I do. First of all, I want to thank you for the new signs in Stony Brook.
Mr. Banks, we got your sign up, you can find your way home now.
And, do we know when the deaf child sign is
I
gonna
spoke
go?
to them, after you asked the question, I contacted them, they said they would either be out tomorrow or Monday. They have to do a bunch of signs for me, correcting signs, like seamless the one over in the fun park, those types of things, so when they're doing sign adjustments, they will install the signs.
So they'll be over at the fun park fixing the stop sign that's there?
That's one of them, it'll be
Okay.
fixed.
How about the parking bumpers at the fun park?
That's a different company.
Okay, this has been going on, as I've asked. The fence over here on, Griffin Drive, that's in front of the FPL, I did ask that be fixed, so at least gave us some kind of, aesthetic beauty, even though it won't be beautiful, but it would be consistent, not falling down. Can we get that fixed? I did ask that too.
Yes, you did.
Mhm.
Let that fall.
Okay. How about the lights at the common pool? They're broken at the bottom. These
They
are,
are-
people are asking.
They're
this is-
looking, the same company that does the work for you up in Stony Brook, they have the ability to disassemble those signs, and they are giving me a proposal to make some of those signs look better.
There's a fence at a lift station at Stony Brook that's really slanted, and I'm afraid that it might fall down, and I do not want it to fall on any of the children that walk.
I would not know about that.
I'll check into
I
that.
think that happened during the hurricane.
Okay. Okay, I've been asked about the signs on Gateway Boulevard near the deli, all those signs that weren't supposed to be put up, that are put up. Are we allowing them
They're
now?
on private property. We've
So-
talked about that before. A lot of those signs in front of the deli are on private property.
You talking about the no parking signs?
No, no,
No,
no. I'm
flags,
talking
the
about-
advertising
flags.
flags.
Advertising.
Well, last Friday, I come back from the city, and the no parking signs, cars were lined up right behind the no parking signs. They were lined up. Nobody's doing anything.
Well, the sheriff's office has to be called and they can come out and do
You
something.
can send it an email.
With
If
regards-
the
I know,
but I
answers to your
talked to
question.
him.
Well, with regards to those other ones, I would ask you to have the citizens call code enforcement for the issues resolving the signage that they find objectionable.
Okay.
They can do that themselves.
And the most, the one that I'm really upset about is the flag at the pool, the United States flag at the pool. It looks like it needs a new one, and that really is upsetting, especially to me. I don't like to see a faded red flag. I like,
Well,
so.
we'll have a new one, I've got some out in the shop. I haven't been by there lately to see.
Thank you.
Don't fly it.
I'm finished.
You ready to adjourn?
The only thing that I had, and then was the checking with the county to see if we can do a standalone admin building there at the common school.
Right, we have to set up a meeting with the county to work with
I
them.
was glad to hear you were gonna do that. Thank you very much.
Madam Chairman, I move adjournment at 6:25 PM.
6:25, we are
Second.
adjourned. Second, down there. We are adjourned.